The illustrious Jabba bids you welcome. I'm going to regret this.
I'm Pete Mitchell. He's Peyton Jones. And this is the Church Planner Podcast, brought to you by Church Planner Magazine. Hey, Church Planner, this is Pete Mitchell.
And this is Peyton Jones.
And I'm just going to come right out and say it. They put a door hinge on a red lightsaber, and I'm supposed to be, ooh, look, it's a door hinge on a lightsaber. Are you kidding me?
It was awesome.
Are you kidding me?
Dude, it wasn't even, you know what it was? It wasn't a door hinge.
It was a door hinge.
You know what it was like? Was when that
Darth Maul at least had a cool double-edged lightsaber. They put a door hinge on hers.
Yeah, so what they do with that is it's kind of like when that guy on Indiana Jones, he takes the coat hanger out and you think he's got like some wicked nunchucks. It reminded me of that, actually.
I don't remember that scene, actually.
Really? When he comes into the tent and he's like, ha, Fraulein. He's all creepy and the guy in all black and he grabs the medallion out of the fire and it burns his hand. Remember when he walks into the tent?
Well, I remember burning the hand. That was kind of an important scene, but no, I don't remember.
Well, he takes his jacket off and he holds up this, it looks like nunchucks, and she has this kind of like frightened look, and then he flicks his wrist and it turns into a coat hanger. And then the guy hangs his coat on it. It kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's stupid. That's like really, really stupid.
Welcome to the Church Planner Podcast, where we talk about all things church planning and Star Wars.
And obviously they're like on the Death Star. This is Dagobah for Rey. That's what this scene is. This is
just can't get enough of that Death Star.
That's basically what's going on. She's having her own cave experience.
That's exactly what I thought. Is she doesn't turn bad. This is her experience. It's like the Jedi trial that Luke has in the cave.
Right.
And where he has to face his own dark side. And that's what this is. She has a vision. And I think what's happening.
And her visions, apparently, she puts a door hinge on her lightsaber.
Well, you know, once you get female Jedi, they have to accessorize. Pete, that's you must allow this.
I guess. Hey, what did you think of the Mandalorian trailer?
Oh, freaking rad, man. Gunslinger, Ronin, the whole, there's chaos after the fall of the Empire, after Luke brings down the Emperor, so now everybody's going to be like, it's kind of like the Wild West. Everybody's like,
is that when it takes place? Is it in between the two?
Yeah, it's after the fall of the Empire.
Okay.
So it's filling the immediately kind of the aftermath of Jedi, where it's like the Wild West now. Stormtroopers are gone. Everybody's gone. It's a free for all in the galaxy. It's going to be rad.
That's the only thing that I might actually, pay for Disney Plus, because I was like, what do I need another streaming service for?
Dude, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor coming back, TV show, Obi-Wan. Right.
Yeah,
there.
That could be
I'm
cool.
in.
That could be cool.
Yeah, he tells a story of when he first gets to Tatooine. So now we're going to see Luke's backstory. We're going to watch Luke grow up, I think.
Huh. That'll be
from a distance. Yeah. From a distance, though.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, so what'd you think of the rest of the trailer?
Well, the rest of the trailer was pretty much the other movies.
Yeah. I mean, you can see what Disney's doing. Disney's going, hey, original
don't be mad at us. Don't be, look, we're paying homage. Don't be mad at us, guys. Please come see this one.
We're not leaving the past behind, guys. We're not at all. We're telling the story.
We know we screwed up and no one's even coming to Star Wars land and we're, we spent all this money and please don't be mad. That's what Disney's doing right now.
Disney's screw up was on epic proportions.
Really? And their non-apology. And they're, we can put anything out there and you guys will give us money.
Yeah, because we're Disney and we got Star Wars and we're good.
Yeah. So anywho, what's new with you?
Well, my car got broken into twice in 1 week.
In front of your house or somewhere else?
Yeah, right in front of my house, right in front of my Ring camera, which somehow doesn't pick up just past my fence. So you can see through the top part of my fence. Like it's just there for show really. But the Ring camera didn't pick it up. It happened right in front of my camera.
Did they break your window or what'd they do?
No. So what they did was the first night, they have one of these fobs that gets into Hondas. They got in, total tweakers. Like they're looking for just quick money, cash, whatever. Didn't get that. The next night, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. The next night, they get in, and what do you think they steal? You think they steal like the $500 lighting rig? So they run my battery down because they don't, if they slam the door, someone's dog's going to bark. It's going to alert a neighbor. So they never close the door. Right? It's like a little trick. You just leave it open, but it looks kind of closed. You just do like a soft, gentle, you push it almost flush, leave it there. So my dome lights are on. It runs my battery down the first night. So second night, I think I've locked it. I didn't, not even thinking, right? Just came in off of a long day of filming. Still had that light gear in there. I thought, I'll lock it. But, you're also thinking they just hit me the night before. They're not going to hit me tonight, right? Sure enough, I get hit again. And what did they take? Did they take anything valuable? They take a bag full of church planting books. So somewhere out there is a criminal who is reading up to his elbows.
He's not reading.
I think he liked the bag.
You're the
I'm pretty
only
sure he was homeless.
criminal that would steal a book and be like, "Oh, I'm going to read this."
So this is no joke, right? Like I have anger issues. So I fought the urge to go bust kneecaps yesterday. But I found I know where all the homeless people hang out. So, I found all the homeless people. I went under the bridge. I went to the parks. I went to the train station. I went to all
Are
the
you
places.
serious? Like you were that upset?
Dude, like part of it is because it has to do with the textbook I'm working on. And it just it was really upsetting. And I told my wife, I said, it's not the books. Like those are easily replaced. I mean, some were like autographed, like copies of all my church planting books they're usually autographed by like the guys that write them when they send them in to the show, from when we interview them or whatever. And so two of them, like one was from Bob Logan. He just had a book come out. I interviewed him and he had just sent me, and Bob's a friend and kind of upset me. Like, so I went and found, like, I was talking to this guy under the bridge, the train bridge. And I was like, hey, look, my car got hit. Do you know who's hitting the cars on Chinka? Because they know everything. And I'm like, guy's like, no, man, I'm new. I'm traveling, yada, yada. I said, okay, look, man, when you see the other guys, just tell them I'm looking for my books, like he can have the bag. He can have my mag light he took from under this. He can have all that stuff. I don't care. But I want those freaking books back. Like, just, have them go to the dumpster, wherever it was, because I've looked all over. I've checked the dumpsters behind the Rite Aid and all the usual suspects, the AM/PM. I've looked in all those. I can't find it. So I'm like, just have them drop them off at the end of Chinkapin, no questions asked. I just want my books back. We just asked him to do me that kindness, because he took the bag and he could have just emptied it, but he took a bunch of textbooks I need. And so luckily they did not get my $60 a volume Schnabel. So, which you have no clue what that is.
No.
But that's like first century church planting on steroids. That's what that is.
Yeah. So,
what about you, man?
Well, the thing is, I know how upsetting that is, because I've had, when I was in high school, I had a VW Bug, right? Classic high school car for us, our generation. Though kids today, they think you're talking about these ugly VW Bugs. And I had a roof rack on it. And those were really hard to get because they just, not many of them left. And someone came to my house, stole it off the car, stole my driver's side mirror. And I just was livid. Like 2 days in a row, they hit my car. One day they took the mirror, the next day they took the roof rack. So I know how upsetting that is. And then when I had my Mustang and my wife and I lived in Bellflower, I still remember these little punk kids stole the Mustang emblem off the back of my car. And it was just like, why are you doing this? Like, there's not
it's
even
violating.
money in that.
It's super violent.
It really is.
Like,
And it's, oh my gosh, is it frustrating? It's like, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? Like, now I don't feel safe in my own home. Like, my
so
property.
I
why are you
drove
doing
around
this?
and I rode my bike around and I walked around for like 3 hours. No joke, dude. Because once the guy, like, came and AAA guy came and got my battery back online, he's like, you got to drive around for a while. So I did, but all I did was just go stake out homeless people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, hey man, I'm gonna. It was. Hey, do you got my church planning books? That's all I cared about, man. So
Yeah.
it was weird, and I needed to sleep. I was all jacked up. It does. It just puts you in a tailspin. And what's funny, man, is like I'm preaching this Sunday
Unforgiveness?
on spiritual warfare. And
okay.
the day that we were filming,
It would have been better if it was on forgiveness. I'm just going to throw that out there.
So I'll talk about this a little bit later today, but I've got this training that I've built called Citywide. And
Wait. No. Tell them the full name. Go on.
That's a different training. That's a different
Jump
training.
School Citywide.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. I don't believe you.
Well, this is a whole separate training, and this is a citywide, interdenominational and inter-network church planning cohort. So basically what you do is there's 12 people. They're all, anyways, I'll get into it later. But the point is that, I was filming for that. And when I got into my car that morning and I saw that, my whole car, like my car won't start. I've been robbed. I was like, oh, okay. I guess this is spiritual attack, because of all days for me to have to, I'm on my way to go film. Like time is of the essence right now. And, I still got there early. Everything worked out. Borrowed my neighbor's truck, checked everything in there. But then to come home the next night and to have that yesterday, I was doing Through the Word in Joshua, and that's all about warfare and this and that. And, dude, I did not, if I were a Bible character, those were bad chapters in my life yesterday. There was, sometimes you just go through trials and you're like, I'm a lot more immature than I thought. Because my first thought was I just wanted to hurt everybody, like, you stole my church planning books, like, I'm gonna bust your kneecaps. I'm gonna curb stomp your head. Like, those were all my thoughts. Like, I'm gonna go find all these homeless people and I will destroy them for still, like, those are my initial thoughts and feelings. And you're like, that's just like, I was talking to my brother and I was talking to him. He goes, yeah, you feel the guilt. And I go, it's not so much guilt. It's more disappointment in myself that there's a way to, I'm looking through pictures of like us ministering in Long Beach, and the homeless population is a big deal. Like, we've helped people get off the streets. And my brother's like, yeah, but you know what? Never forget you're human. That's all it is. You're a Christian, you're this, but you're also human. And it was just kind of funny because I'll be honest with you. So my brother's a self-proclaimed atheist, and he always says these amazing things. And I tell him, I go, you give me the most godly counsel out of anyone I know. Because he's like, well, maybe God, he goes, I don't believe any of this, but maybe God's teaching you,
It's funny because I really wonder the internal dialogue for your brother. Like, I know he claims to be an atheist now, but I also know at one point he claimed to be a Christian, right? Wasn't he even a youth pastor or something like that?
He was, and my brother knows the Bible forwards and backwards. I mean, he has it down.
Obviously, I've never even met your brother, and all I've heard is from you, but I wonder if he's had that serious conversation with himself where he's like, I realize that, I just don't, I don't even know what the word is, but like, on some level, I bet you he believes there's a God, like on some level. And it's just maybe, his experience and all that stuff, he's very uncomfortable with that fact.
So what he will say, and I appreciate, he's an honest atheist, and he's an atheist who he'll tell you Christianity is beautiful. And he says, I would never rob anyone of that. I don't believe that. And he gets it. He gets it. It's not an intellectual. He says you have to have faith. At a certain point, there's that leap that everyone makes. He goes, you can't reason anyone in. You can't reason anyone out. He says you have faith or you don't. And so, it's funny because by biblical standards, he is always extremely accurate, and he's amazing to talk to. So, but yeah, he'll put that hat on and he'll give me counsel. It's almost like I've just talked to a ministry coach, because he can shift. First off, he's a genius. My brother's actually a genius. So he is one of the most amazing critical thinkers I've ever come across, but he can literally shift and put that hat on and get into that mode, and he's there. You know what I'm saying? And then he can easily switch into a totally different mode and give you the complete like humanistic way of, just easily. So, in fact, his wit's so fast, like I can't keep up with him. I watch him in debates. He's an amazing dude. So.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. I still hope we always joke around about if he gets converted, we'll take over the world. The Jones boys are here.
Yeah, so that's cool. So as you know, we went back to Star Wars land.
Yes, let me hear about it. Come on.
The reason why I wanted to go back, and this is just a week after the first time, is because I realized when I was looking at the map, we missed half of Star Wars land.
Well, it was so funny because you sent me this text and it goes, apparently there is more. And you sent me all these pictures and I'm like, oh, that's hilarious.
There was a whole nother, like we just didn't walk down this one road. And because we didn't walk down it, we missed the whole Resistance side. And so we went back and checked out the Resistance side, which, the Resistance ride isn't running yet. I think that's January is when that's going to open.
So it's open in Disney World, right?
I have no idea.
Well, I watched a commercial for it. What is insane?
What is the ride?
It's Rise of the Resistance.
What are you doing? Like Smuggler's Run, you're the Millennium Falcon. What are you in Rise of the Resistance?
You're in this like, I don't know if it's like a land speed or what. It's not deserty. It's like you're literally in something like the Death Star. And so you're like in cargo bays and there's full on AT-ATs.
Oh, nice.
Full scale, dude. And they're shooting at you as you're moving through. It's insane. And this droid's on your little like people mover going, boop, 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 boop. He's like freaking out and stuff. And, doors are going and shutting behind you and cutting you off from that cargo bay. And then you're coming into another area where there's like a Sith Lord or what. Dude, it's amazing.
Does he have a hinge on his lightsaber?
No, you will not get that.
Yeah, so no, we went back because I wanted to see the rest of it, and I definitely the decoration that they did. I mean, it's the kind of place where you just kind of walk around and look at everything. If you're into Star Wars, I mean, essentially, it's a great place just to walk around and check everything out. Well, yeah, I mean, to a degree, they've ruined it with The Last Jedi, so I'm still sore. I'm still sore on that whole endeavor.
The only way they bring that movie back is if the whole movie was a giant, like, we're just going to throw you for a loop. Then it's genius. If it was literally just to throw us all off and confuse us, and then they bring it back, kind of like my theory, then I'm good.
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think so.
I think if they were, there's still stupid things in that movie that are never going to be right. Like that guy, DJ, don't join. The guy goes, whatever
I think
Del Toro, whatever his name is, he was stupid.
Hey, we freed the animals for like 3 minutes, and that's worth it. I don't care that all these kids are
absolutely
enslaved.
Stupid.
We freed the animals, and that's what's really important in life.
Matters.
Yeah. I'm sorry,
but it's so fitting though.
If they kill off Rose in the first 5 minutes of this new movie, then it's got a shot at redemption. If they don't,
Rose
has to go. Rose has to go.
Because they didn't kill Jar Jar. The only thing they can do is show
Rose has to go.
Rose and Jar Jar are a couple now. If they do that, then
he really was a Sith Lord.
Did Did you see that clip I showed you the other day of
Actually, I don't
Robot
know
Chicken?
that I watched it. I don't
Dude,
think
you
I
have
did.
to watch that. And then you have to. It's for those of you listening. It's how what was the name of that one? Revenge of the Sith. How Revenge of the Sith should have ended. And at the end, like Mace Windu, it's all these like claymation guys, and Mace Windu's to the other Jedis. Now look, we're going to confront the Emperor. He's the most powerful Sith Lord in the universe. So don't be like making slow lunges at him and let him kill you back with slow, don't rush him all at one time. We're going to be methodical about this so he doesn't kill us with slow lightsaber lunges. Because remember, you're Jedi masters. You're like the best Jedi fighters in the world has ever seen. And they're like, okay. So anyways, they go in there and because there's like 5 Jedi against, Palpatine, they just kick his butt right away and kill him. And as soon as they do, Jar Jar comes out in these dark robes. And me's the real Lord of the Sith, and it's pretty funny. But the thing ends. The funniest part is Anakin and Obi-Wan on that little slope, and Obi-Wan's like, "I have the high ground," and Anakin goes, "Looks to me like you have the lava ground," and he keeps shooting lava up on the hill, and Obi-Wan's like, "Stop it!" And he goes, "Lava ground, lava ground, lava ground." It's hilarious, dude. He's just shooting all this lava up on the hill.
I think my favorite meme is Annie's about to go to school, and he's like, "Mom, I don't want to go to school today." And she's like, "Okay, you don't have to go." And then it cuts to the school, and the teacher's like, "Today we're going to learn about the high ground." I thought that one was hilarious.
It's so good. But when you watch these things, like how it should have ended, you're like, yeah, that kind of, it's like when they did the Lord of the Rings one, and they're like, how it should have ended. And it shows in the very beginning, the Fellowship of the Ring, where they hop on the back of the eagles. One of them just goes, "Hey, why don't we just fly over Mordor on these eagles?" And he goes, "Done." And all of a sudden it shows the eagle fly over Mordor. Frodo reaches over, drops the ring, and bloop, done.
Oh, that would
Kind
have
of ruins the Lord of the Rings for you.
That would have shortened that movie by a good 3 hours. It would have been perfect.
No kidding, right?
Yeah. So I mean, we did Star Wars Land. It was cool. It's a great place to walk around and check out stuff. And yeah. So hey, other big news in that. I mean, not so much my life, but my buddy Wayne gets out on Tuesday.
What?
Well, technically he has to. Technically, they drive him to the airport in Oregon, right? He lands in John Wayne Airport at 2:30 on Tuesday, and he's got 3 hours to report to the halfway house. So he's got a
wow.
It's totally a rig. See, he meets all of the qualifications for home confinement, and back before. Basically, what's happened is this guy sued I don't know if it was the Bureau of Prisons or who it was exactly, because basically what happened was before this lawsuit, when you're on at a halfway house, you have to get a job. And when you have a job, 25% of your income goes directly to the halfway house to help subsidize all of your costs. Well,
Right.
If you meet all of the requirements, you have a car, you have a job, you have a home you could go to, then they're supposed to have you on home confinement. And they were still getting the 25%. So the halfway houses, you had a job, like you'd be there 2-3 days, and they'd send you home because we're going to get our 25%. That's all we really care about. Let's get another person in here because then we get more money. So that was the game that they played. So when Wayne went in, he's like, "Hey, man, I'm really going to need a job when I get out because I might be able to be home like within days if I have a job." And so someone sued and said, "Why am I giving the halfway house 25%? I have to pay for all of my living expenses now." And he won because the court was like, "You're right. This is junk." So now they won't let you leave the halfway house because they want the 25%. So a guy like him who's going to have a job, it's hard for him to leave. So now, technically, the worst case scenario, he'd have to stay in the halfway house until I think like the end of January.
Wow.
But realistically, he'll probably only have to stay there about 2 months. They'll feel like they've gotten enough money out of him. and then they'll ship
Dude.
them off.
It's like, so I'm remodeling my house, and I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but in California, you got to pay the school district $3.79 per square foot that you're adding on. For some reason, that money magically goes to the school.
Yeah,
in my neighborhood.
Called theft. Taxation is theft.
It is theft. And I'm thinking, but I already pay taxes towards schools
that I have to pay
don't
every
use
year
because my kids go to private school. I thought all that lottery money was supposed to pay for the schools. Wah, wah, wah. And, you know, now all of a sudden I find if I improve my house, the school gets a cut. The school that I don't use down the street gets a cut of that. Like a big cut. $4 a square foot? Are you kidding me?
I know, that's a lot.
No kidding, right? I mean, that's crazy, dude. So there's thousands of dollars that I got to pay them.
And you all thought you lived in a country that was free. Welcome to the Libertarian Express.
Hey, Boston Tea Party, baby. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, except what do we throw into the harbor? I mean, I'm not throwing in my AR-15, and
right.
You know, I don't know what else you're supposed to throw in.
I don't know, man, but like no taxation without representation. I don't use the public school system. Should I really pay taxes on it?
This is why our founders actually made it illegal, unconstitutional to tax people based on income. They're like, this is first of all, it's a violation of your Fifth Amendment rights, and Fourth for that matter. And so
Yeah, I tell you what, man, if we just had a straight tax, you would see a very different type of political machine.
If you had to physically write the check every week to the government instead of it being taken out of your payroll, out of your paycheck, there'd be a revolution in about 3 weeks. I'd give it 21 days before people just said, "Oh, this is jacked up," and they went after our elected officials.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot to be said for this, man. Big time.
That's why I told you I want to start my own country on an island because, I mean, you know.
Sealand. We already
Yeah, but that's not, like, I want a real country. Like, I want, you know, some square footage.
You want to buy an island in the Bahamas?
I want to buy an island. I don't care where it is, but I want to buy an island that we can make our own country. It will be.
Are you a king?
No. I'm going to set up a republic that will have a first generation republic in which I am basically king until I'm dead.
I was going to say.
And then after that, it passes to traditional republic. But one of my rules is going to be every family must have a minimum of one rifle and one pistol because they are going to be our national defense. Like they literally will be it.
Interesting.
And so, you know, and there won't be any of this. There'll be no gun laws. Let's just put it like that. You want a rocket launcher? If you can afford it, you got a rocket launcher, baby. That's yours. Go for it.
So I was in the Baptist Review. Someone mentioned, hey, what church planning books? And Church Zero, cha-ching, got an honorable mention.
Nice. That's really cool for Church Zero. I mean, really,
no,
it is.
Church Zero, dude. Church Zero is still selling. Like it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Church, we passed our sale. You know, so like I'm in the black now, but
you're like, I'll finally get a royalty check. Woohoo!
Yeah, except I never get royalty checks from Cook. I don't know what's up with that, but you know, it's funny because I should call them, but you know, it's funny because. Somebody said, "Oh man, you totally got to listen to the Church Planner podcast. It's so encouraging." And one guy gets on there and goes, "I laugh so hard when Pete rants about guns."
Really?
And I wrote, Pete does enjoy a good rant now and then.
Oh, dude, that's I'll
send you a screenshot.
Dude, I think what was the best was the text that you and I got from Cam Barber. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah. You should share that.
Dude, where's that text? Hold on. I put it on Facebook because I was dying when I read it.
He said he had to pull over because he was laughing so hard. Because he's in the back and he goes, "Hey, Dad, what's this show about?" And he goes, "Oh, it's church planning, son." And he goes, "Really? Because it sounds like two guys just messing around."
I know. So great. I was trying to
and I said, you know, Your son is obviously going to be a pastor, not a church planner.
I don't know where it is. I can't find it.
That's
but I put
always
it
our
on
litmus test. If you don't like smack talk, you're a pastor. You're not a church planner. Go rethink your life.
What are you listening to, Dad? Oh, I'm listening to the Church Planner podcast. It's all about church planning, and really, it sounds like two guys just messing around. And then he says, I had to pull over. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, yes, my ministry has finally come to fruition right here. I finally did what I always wanted to do.
Well, speaking of screwing around, we better get into our topic.
Doc, hold on. Soundboard, here we go.
Great Scott! It's time for this week's topic.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
It worked. Did you hear it?
No, I told you, I don't hear the soundboard anymore.
That's great.
I have to know.
I have control. I could just sit there for a while and go, I have power.
The only thing that helps me is the soundboard just does do a countdown. Like, it tells me how many seconds until the sound clip has ended. And so in my head, I'm always like, great Scott, it's time for this week's topic. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Today's topic being brought to you by Mogiv. No, sorry. Being brought to you by The Last Jedi is on New Breed, which, for those of you who don't know what New Breed is, neither do I. So, Peyton, I'm glad you're here. Why don't, first of all, give us an overview. Well, first of all, Peyton, tell us your story of how you came to faith, and then we'll get into New Breed.
I was blind, but now I see. I was lost, and now I'm found.
Amen.
Preach.
No, seriously.
All right, so what's New Breed?
Real quick, you're the 10-second version of your coming to faith, and then we'll get into New Breed.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
really. Want me? Okay, so
this is how we do our interviews. We ask that question.
I got you. Pete is a meat and potatoes man. He's stick to the plan. He's got a process. So I came to faith. I heard the gospel from a student teacher who witnessed to me outside of school because I was getting suspended and getting ready to get expelled. And he
and what grade were you in?
For me, I was 14 years old.
Okay,
I was in 8th grade, getting ready to go into 9th grade. It was the very end of the school year. I had like 2 months to go, and I wasn't going to make it. And so he just started praying for me, and he took me to Calvary Costa Mesa. Went there for a couple weeks. About 2 weeks later, I prayed in the back of a '66 Mustang to come to faith. So I got saved in style, and that was it.
Nice. Now, your family, you used to tell me stories. They were into some weird stuff growing up, right?
Yeah. It was funny. I was talking about my brother. That's the thing that both of us, he'll say, hey, brother, I agree. That's stuff I can't explain. Like I said, he's very honest. But, we had things go bump in the night. So my mom was a practitioner of white magic. Now, she thought of herself as a Christian. She went to a very liberal, universalistic church, so anything went. So it didn't matter what she brought to the table. But when I grew up, she would do seances. She would have Native American shamans come into the room, and they would tell our fortune. And I remember this guy. He gave me this funny name that I was supposed to call him, and he would say, "Now remember, whenever you see a crow, you call out to me and use my spirit name, and I will hear you." And I remember just being a little kid going like, wow, wow, we're not in Kansas anymore. But the occult was something that we grew up with, we were comfortable with. And my brother got a little bit deeper into it. My parents were into it before they split up. My grandfather was a Civil War author, best-selling author. He lived on the edge of the Manassas battlefield in Centerville, and his house was haunted. So there was heavy poltergeist activity. I witnessed it multiple times as a kid. And so when
didn't you also say too at one point, like a week or two before you got saved, something happened. I don't know if it was something you saw or just something you experienced, but you were like, "Oh, I'm going to hell," and like you knew it was real. And
yeah. So I was sitting in English class, and this is months before I heard the gospel. But it was it was in the autumn, and I got saved in the spring. But we read a little excerpt of Christopher Marlowe's Faustus, and he makes a deal with the devil, and then he goes to hell because he wants women and power and money. And I remember just thinking, I want all those things. And it was a Holy Spirit conviction moment where it dawned on me, I'm going to hell because I want everything this guy has, and he's doing the dark arts. I was never like into witchcraft or anything, but I started messing around with the Ouija board, and I started reading. My dad had all these books on the occult, and I started reading. There's a book called Psychic Telekinesis, and it was all about communing with not evil spirits, but I would now say they were evil. Then they would say, like, when you see like mediums that are like, oh, Derek is telling me, or whatever, they're Brian or whatever, as to my spirit, my companion spirit is all that stuff. I was reading up on that. I was starting to get sucked into it. So I knew there was a spiritual realm. And of course, my dad's house was also haunted because a lot of times it's not the house itself, it's the people in it. And so my dad brought something with him, I would say, into his house. So I had things that would go bump in the night and freak me out. So
yeah, wow, crazy, really, really crazy. So. And if you want to know the story from there up until here, just listen to the last 300 or so episodes of the Church Planner podcast.
Yeah.
But you've got this network called New Breed. Give us a 30,000 foot view of what New Breed is, and then we'll start digging into some of the intricacies of it.
Yeah, so New Breed is really, it's everything that you read about in any of the books that I've written, kind of more like a frontline, training others to do what we did at Refuge Long Beach. And I would say if it were like a one sentence summary, it would basically be a punk rock network, because we're kind of like the Bad News Bears, right? We're not everybody's network, but we specialize in going to very dark places where, churches don't typically plant. And we operate almost entirely by first century principles. So that's always been my passion, is rediscovering what Paul and the apostles did in the book of Acts. And that translates into our training. And so that's the kind of network that we run. Most of our guys, I would say that they would fail most other networks' church planning assessments.
So, first of all, how many groups, pastors, whatever you want to call it, churches are part of the network right now? And let's talk about, like, what does it look like to be a part of the network? And then we'll kind of backtrack and go over what does it take to join the network and things like that.
Yeah. So, excuse me, we're small. I mean, we're growing right now at about one planner a week. We're not the easiest network to join, because I think we're the kind of network where if a guy comes and he goes, I'm going to plan a big box church, and I'm going to be the new sexy church, and you could just see church planning as a vehicle for him to get a following. Those guys don't. We interview. They don't make it past that. And so gosh, man, like when I first got here, I remember opening up like, hey, free network, and like 50 people came running. We're not even 50 people now. So what we typically do, there's 3 areas that we focus on, and that's assessment, training, and coaching. And, typically it used to be like 10 years ago that each network had a specialty. So like Acts 29 was really good on assessment. That was their thing. Maybe a network was good at funding. We don't fund any of our planners. We're not going to give them money. And so, and that helps keep us honest. It helps keep our planners honest. So like our guys, this, like often when there's money being handed out, people come up, I'm a Methodist, or I'm a, Southern Baptist, or I'm a, you name it. There's suddenly that, and they put that hat on because money's being given out. You tell me what I got to be and I'll be that, just give me the money. And so we've divorced, New Breed is not for funding you. New Breed is for assessing you, training you, and coaching you. And the kind of planners that we have are going into dark places. When we ask them, what is it that you need more than anything? It's the coaching portion. it's the portion where they're like, man, I just want to know I'm not alone. I just want to know that there's planners like me out there who get me, because maybe I'm in this denomination or in this network, or I went through this in seminary and nobody got me. And, I feel like I come in a new breed and everybody gets me. We're the same. And there's like this brotherhood and sisterhood. And so it's, like I said, it's assessment training and coaching.
So how do you facilitate the brotherhood, the sisterhood, when you got planners all over the country and perhaps even the world? I don't know if you've got UK, Canadian, Kenya people. I have no idea.
We have Canadians. We have the best. Like, we primarily have apostolic type leaders, planters, but and I think we always have. Even when we started in the UK, because that's actually where we started. The guy who runs 829 Wales is a guy named Di Hankey. Some of you will know him. He and I started New Breed before 829 came over. And New Breed continued for a year after I moved back because, we just felt like, hey, we're a lot broader than 829. We're solidly evangelical, but 829 is very reformed. I had guys that weren't reformed. And so eventually Di was like, hey, I can't run Acts 29 Wales and New Breed. So we made a clean break. What was interesting was a lot of the guys that I raised up there, they continued within New Breed. And so right now in Wales, we're still adding people to New Breed, which is great. That's super good for me. But we've got a guy in Barcelona who, he started a co-working space. Like, they're almost all business' mission. There's a guy that started I can't pronounce the name, in Mexico, but he started a coffee house there. So almost all of our guys, in fact, I would say, I'm just trying to think, are any not bivocational? I think two of our brand new guys are not bivocational. They're funded, which is a real shift for us, because almost everybody else, like Dave Thompson up in Bend, right, who's on his third church plant, he's a chimney sweep, and he could support himself, a couple times over. In fact, he's put some of his church planting partners on staff, but he's like, look, I'm a chimney sweep, so I want to be in people's houses nonstop. And so he works a few days a week doing that, and then he does churchy things the other couple days, but I mean, they're a bunch of gospel commandos. Like, I'm so proud of the quality. I mean, some guys, they look at, how many people are that, like, they boast, we've planted, 600 churches in the last 20 years, or, and I've been amazed, like, how small the networks actually are. Like, when they say, we planted, like, when I looked at some of the other networks, how big their membership was, it was actually a lot smaller than I thought. Because I'd always be like, oh man, we're less than 50. We're pretty small. But for me, it's the quality of guys. Like, I don't want to be hundreds of people, and then, you kind of find out that, a lot of what they're saying is 3 networks are putting their bumper sticker on the same planner. And it's not always, we've talked about church planning numbers before. They're always suspect. And they're saying, we planted this man. Well, this network over here is claiming those same dudes as well, because they went to them for money and they went to you for this. And, but for our guys, I mean, and we tell them you can be part of another network, but we don't boast in the numbers. We're not like, hey, we planted it. And I've had people tell me, that's a problem with New Breed. You guys don't give that big vision. We're going to plant this many churches by that many years. And we say, well, our metric is different. Our metric is not how many churches can we plant. I mean, Lord knows we don't need another network out there that's, trying to put numbers on a map. We're trying to go to the areas of the map that nobody else is going to.
Hence the tagline of our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And when you ask, like, how do we span all across America and South America, and I mean, our international and our national, I learned this from you. And it was when we started, like, we were never really good. We would have monthly Zoom calls, and we'd have guys all over the different time zones, and we'd bring them in. And it's like those membership masterminds, guys could ask whatever questions. And then we broke it up into regions, and then the guys kind of missed each other. So what we did is we introduced an app where it's the Voxer app. Woohoo! And our guys 24/7, and I learned this from Bivo Inner Circle that you and I did together. But I really, that was your brainchild. And I was like, man, this is amazing. Because what we did, and I remember telling you at one stage, Pete, you just created a church planting network unwittingly, right? Like, that's what's just happened. You're like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, man, like, this is what a network ought to be doing. So when we did the Voxer app, that changed everything for New Breed. And granted, we got guys that they're like, oh yeah, no, I'm a face-to-face guy. Voxer's not my thing. But there's other aspects of New Breed that they've joined for.
For those who've never used Voxer, tell them what Voxer is.
So Voxer is a walkie-talkie app, and what it basically means is you join a group and you can add people into this group. So for us, all of our planners are in there, not all of them active, but I can at any time leave an audio voice recording. And so throughout the day, guys will be chiming in, or people post pictures, or they put text in there. It's like a group text, but it's also audio. It's super easy to use the audio. So like, I'll get emails. I got a big long email this week, and someone's like, hey, Peyton, how do I do this and that and that? It's easier for me than to sit down and write you an email. 24/7 coaching. This is our coaching aspect. What I do is I press the Voxer app, and I left him a beautiful bit of coaching on there. And he can respond. We can have a conversation. The whole group can hear it. So when I responded, I didn't know if he wanted his identity to be known. So I said, hey, one of you guys asked me this. And I gave it. And then he chimed in and said, hey, Peyton, thanks, man. That was me. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, guys. And then it's group coaching. The other guys can even, it's not always me. It's not like I'm the guru in there. Other guys in there, it's group coaching. They're mentoring one another. And sometimes they're just going, oh, dude, that sucks, man. I know how that, hey, you know what? I'm going to send you this link. Here's my guy used for this, yada, yada, yada. Tell him I sent you. He'll take care of that for you. So when New Breed first started, we were sharing graphics. We were sharing mailers. We were sharing, it was resources like, hey, all you guys are Bivo. So some of that still goes on. But guys can do that. They can be like, hey, let me send you this. I just drafted this up, guys. Here you go.
Yeah. And we use that while we don't do the Bivo Inner Circle anymore. We still, I still have the Platinum group. And so the Platinum was, guys basically who were learning how to do what I do, be a consultant, things like that. And, guys are always in there talking and back and forth. And it really, for us, it creates that community where you got a guy like A. David, who's literally on the other side of the country from me, and he can ask a question, and somebody like Travis, who's in Florida, can respond, or Aaron, who's in, I don't even remember what state he's in now. I think he's in Ohio or something. I don't know. I can't remember. I mean, he can chime in, and Dan Sams is in Ohio, and obviously I'm out here in California, and it does create that community when it's convenient for you. Like, that's the key thing for me.
It is a key.
I don't have to listen to everything that's going on when it happens. Like, for me, I turn off the notifications. Like, you can do that in the app. So that way I'm not getting dinged every time someone leaves a message in there. And then, once a day I go in there, listen to it, and respond to what needs to be responded to. And it really makes it convenient to be part of that conversation with everyone.
It really does. And I mean, in a network like New Breed that's based on like the APEST, or I call it the FIST model, where you've got apostle, prophetic, to hear the shepherd's point of view on stuff, to hear the apostolic, to hear the prophetic, to hear the evangelist, to hear the teacher, to hear these different roles interacting, because all those guys are in there. They're part of church planning teams. That to me is worth its weight in gold, because some of these guys are out there and they may not have a shepherd on their team, or they may not have a prophet, and these prophetic leaders are able to go in there. And I'm always telling the prophetic leaders, hey, don't hold back, because a prophetic leader will tend to be super polite and not, they'll wait if they feel like, hey, I'm the only like prophet in here, or there's only a couple of us. They'll just kind of like let status quo. And I'm always encouraging them, hey guys, let your deal be your deal. like be fully you who God's called you to be. Don't hold back in here. These guys need, because a prophetic's primary function is encouragement. And sometimes they'll call up and say, hey, I got this word for you, so-and-so. It's laid on my, it's usually something highly scriptural. We don't have any Looney Tunes in there. And it's super encouraging, So like Tyrone, who's in there, he gave me a prophetic word, about 6-7 months before I departed from NAM, just saying, hey, it's time. And, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, I know, I'm not ready yet. I've got a few things. And he goes, okay. But, he's challenging me. But, he just, when you got prophets in your corner, it's amazing.
Right. That's cool.
So
that's really cool. So
the other thing I would say, one other thing is also access to me. So as you can imagine, with the books and with the podcasts and what have you, and over the years of training, I get a lot of people contacting me that, hey, Peyton, what about this? Just like this week, because I start a film project today, which is 52 episodes on church planners and money. Like
wait. Jump School, the story of money?
No, it's not Jump School. I'm going to give you some Jump School, but you got to wait. But here's the thing is, I got 2 questions on that. So I say, hey, look, email me, fine, lay it all out for me, what you want. I'll either answer it on the podcast, or what I've had to tell people now is, look, I don't have time. Like, I'm writing a textbook. I don't have time to, as things ramp up for me to do the one-on-one coaching, because I've always just done that for people out of, but I just now time-wise just don't have time for it. And I've always done it free. I'm not like, hey, you got to pay to talk to me. But what I tell people now is, hey, if you're looking for ongoing coaching or this or that, where I spend most of my time doing that is New Breed. And so I'll literally drop what I have. If someone, and I tell my guys, because they're always like, Peyton, we know you're busy. And I'm always like, no, guys, I'm here for you. If you're in my network, I will drop what I'm doing. And literally I will, I live to talk to these guys and coach them. So it's like, it's my favorite thing that I do. More than writing, more than preaching, is helping these guys through their struggles. And that, for me, that's access. And they try not to abuse it, I guess. Like, I think they're a little too polite about it. But I'm always like, guys, just call me. Like, you get access to me. I'm here. You're my posse. You're my band of brothers and sisters. Call me. And if you join, it's not just you. It's your entire leadership team, and their spouses get access to the network. So it's a pretty good deal.
Do you set up a separate Voxer group for the spouses?
No, we have not.
You probably
we just keep them all together. But it's
probably
funny
because I bet you anything they would really enjoy that.
I bet you're right. You know what that's,
and you know what that costs to do? Nothing.
That is true. I wonder if we do that.
That's
a
the
good
church
call,
planner's
Pete.
magic number.
See, I'm telling you, everything I learned from Pete Mitchell.
Jump School.
There's your
the money
soundbite.
story continues. So that's the community side, the access to you. Are there other resources that they get, training that they get?
Yeah, so a couple things. Yes, we have training, and our training looks like this. Couple things. So if you join, here's all the benefits, right? First off, you get assessment. Our assessment is totally different than anyone. We don't do online assessments. All assessments are done via interview. You fill an application, but we interview. In that interview, we're looking for calling and character, right? We're looking for red flags. We're not expecting you to be fully formed. We just want to see a strong sense of your calling. Now, that's not calling to full-time ministry. That's just, like some of my guys they're not in full-time ministry, but would you say they're church planners? Heck yeah. Are they missional? Are they out there? Are they Bible? Yes. And so I got a guy who's a barber, a guy named Dustin. He is a barber. They sit in his barber chair. He becomes like Father Confessor. And, he meets him in the cigar lounge, leads him to Jesus, and funnels him into his church. Would you say that, would you say that Dustin is, because he hasn't planted a church, I'd give my left arm for that dude on my team, right? So we'll tell guys, look, you don't have to be actively church planting, but you can be doing what Paul did, which is what Dustin's doing. And what he'll do right now is he'll funnel them into the church that he attends. But he came to us for training. So here's what it looks like. The assessment is calling a character. That's phase 1. Once you've been in the network and you've gone through some of the training, then we assess your missional engagement. And thirdly, our final assessment is, are you ready to train others, for us? So hopefully you're always training others. Hopefully you're always discipling. But we literally, we want to bump you up to a trainer level. And so our training is, here it comes. Our first one is our core team training. And I reserved the name Jump School for that because the very first training that I ever designed was for core teams. And we later stole that name and took it over to, our planner training, which, Pete makes fun of me for, but Jump School core team training. It was getting your jump team ready, your core team. And so we've got that. That drops actually in September. Then the other one is our citywide network. And you just get this, like you don't pay the regular fee. Now there is a membership for New Breed, and that, you end up making out like a bandit after you pay our membership fee. It's not much, but you don't pay for any of the training, like the rest of the world does. If you're in the network, it's free. Also, you'll get, like I said, like if I start a coaching group or something like that, you get that free. You get all that free. It's just included in the price of membership. The other thing is we do quarterly Zoom calls. So right now our next one schedules with Ralph Moore. We'll talk to him about discipleship. We'll talk to Brad Briscoe about bivocational. We're hoping to get Hugh Halter as Bivo's mission. Business's mission. Just different guys like that are a part of the network that, a part of my network of people. They're not part of New Breed, but a part of my network that I'm able to call on and say, hey, could you come talk to us about this? We're hoping to land Francis. I don't know if we'll land that one, but I think we can.
Well, you could always just keep showing the one webinar we did with Francis Chan. Just play that one over and over again. There you go.
It's been a few years. No one will remember that.
No one will remember. So what, that we look so much younger and I actually had red in my goatee? No one will remember.
I know, man. When I hosted that thing in March at Exponential, man, I did not look like the first time we hosted him.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. I won't even, I can't brag with those pictures. They're not good.
We've reached that stage in our life where we just look old now, which is, I don't know. It's disturbing. Yeah. So anyway, tell me, okay, what does it take to apply to be in New Breed?
Yeah, so you just go to newbreednetwork.org and you hop on there. You fill out the application. That's going to give you your own. It's super streamlined, going to give you your own application, a spousal application, and a pastoral reference. I want a leader who knows you and has worked with you to kind of back you. So those 3 apps will come through to us. Our team will look at it, and you'll get a team interview. We will want to talk to you, and we like to interview you with your spouse. That's our preferred way of doing it. We want to see if there's any red flags there, and then after that, it's a yay or nay. You're either ushered into the network, or we suggest a network to you that we think might fit you better.
So, what does it cost?
So it's $100 a month. What? Yeah, $100 a month
per person.
You get all that. Yeah, per person, per team. No, per team.
I liked my way better. Oh, there's 5 of you. Yeah, that's $500 a month. Oh, there's 10 of you. Great, that's $1,000 a month. My way's better.
No, that's, for us, it doesn't matter.
I'm gonna try and impart some of my wisdom on you again.
Yes, obviously you.
Oh, you're married.
Failed.
Oh, you've got 3 wives. Great, $400 a month.
Well, and it's funny, man, because it really is an amazing deal to join New Breed. You're getting far more than you're giving, for sure.
That's awesome. That's cool.
It was hard for me to even charge, if you remember, like way back.
Oh, dude, I so remember.
Free network.
Yeah, you have the typical missionary complex, which is I'm used to living on little money. Therefore, I feel awkward in asking people for money. And I don't share that affliction, as we all know.
Yeah, when I ended up going to some of these other trainings, and I saw some of my new breed guys there, and they're paying, and I'm like, what? What? That was a wake
one
up
of my
call
favorite
for me.
stories is when we first released the Platinum Bivo Inner Circle, the teaching people how to become business coaches. At the time, it was 5,000. Now it's actually more than that, but it was 5,000. And I don't know, I think we put like 5 or 8 people in the very first group that we took through. And your wife's like, that's it. From now on, Pete gets to decide how much you're charging.
Well, and it's not to say that it won't go up one day. I mean, it probably will, Pete, but for the guys in now, I'll just grandfather them in. That's what I did when it went up to 100.
Course,
I grandfathered the other guys in. It's like, hey, you joined back when it was this. And, probably realistically it will go up, especially these other trainings. Because one of the other things is once you get certified to be a trainer for Citywide, you actually get to start making money, training and launching it where you're at. So that's kind of the cool, but we want to look after our planners. A lot of them are Bivo, and we want to help them make a living as well.
So let's go ahead and tell everyone again where they go to apply if this is a network that they're interested in joining because they want that support.
Yeah, so it's newbreednetwork.org. Again, it's all things related to first century style church planner training, and have assessment coaching, newbreednetwork.org.
And while guys are in New Breed, and let's say they've started their church plant, if they need help with their payroll, their workers' comp, their IRS compliance, what do you tell them to do?
Well, that's a funny thing that you asked that. When they're doing all of that, we send them over to simplifiedchurch.com.
Wait. What was that?
Simplifiedchurch.com.
Simplifiedchurch.com?
That's right. You can go on over there, talk to Josh Henry. He is your chief simplifier, and tell him that Peyton and Pete sent you.
I think they should rename it simplifiedjumpschoolchurch.com.
Yeah, you know what? And I don't know if they still do this or not, but they used to actually give the New Breed guys a rad discount.
Oh, did they?
They used to. I used to, because I told them, I say, hey, I'll turn you on the whole network if you give them this, boom, boom, boom. I'll push you guys out to them. Well, guys, thanks for joining us today. This has been Peyton Jones and Pete Mitchell reminding you, if you want to reach the ones nobody's reaching, you need to go where nobody's going and do what nobody's doing.
I'm sorry, Mr. Paul Mitchell. I've dialed the wrong number. I'm trying to reach a granddaughter. Bye-bye.
She never did reach that granddaughter.
Thanks for joining us for another weekly episode of the Church Planner Podcast with Pete Mitchell and Peyton Jones. We'd love to hear your comments on this episode of the Church Planner Podcast. Visit us online and let us know what you thought at churchplannerpodcast.com. If you subscribe to us via iTunes and have enjoyed the podcast, leave us a positive review. The more positive reviews we receive in iTunes, the more iTunes will promote us to other church planners who would benefit from this show. This podcast is brought to you by the Church Planner Magazine, which is available in the iTunes newsstand or online via churchplannermagazine.com.